this web page based on grid 12, grid with 12 columns. First row, there is a two div class equal grid 8 and the div class equal grid 4. 8 and 4 is 12. There is no margins, and we don't need class last for last div in the row. For margin right equal 0. Second row, there is 6 div. Every div there is a class equal grid 2. Third row, there is a 2 div, and first div there is a grid 5, class grid 5, and second div in the third row there is a class equal 7. 7 plus 5 equal 12. In last fourth row there is a 2 div. First div is grid equal 3, grid 3, class equal grid 3, and second div in fourth row there is 9, class equal grid 9. Here is HTML. Begin with the doc type declaration for HTML5. Next is HTML tag, beginning tag in every HTML document. Head section, there is a title, meta, charset, link, style 5 .css, link to Google Font, meta, viewport for display on mobile, body element, there is a div class equal container. Inside that div are all other divs. First row there is a div class equal grid 8 and div class equal grid 4. 8 and 4, 12. Second row, grid 2, there is a 6 grid 2, class equal grid 2, 6 div, grid 2, and third row, first row there is grid 8, grid 4. Next is grid 2 and grid 1, grid 1. Grid 1, it is possible that grid 1 there is the same color. Grid 1, yes, grid 1, because we have grid 1 and grid 1. Grid 1 there is the same, it is same color, and here it seems like one div grid 2, but it is not. It is 2 div grid 1, every grid 1. It is now I see here is beginning of second. It is very visible beginning of second grid. It is the same here. It means in second row we have first div grid 2, and div grid 1, div grid 1, div grid 2, div grid 1 again, div grid 1 again, div grid 2, and div grid 1, and div grid 1 again. There is a 6 grid 1 and 6 div grid 1 and 3 divs grid 2. It means, again, grid 4, grid 2, it is first row. Grid 1, grid 1, grid 2, grid 1, grid 1. Yeah, pardon. Grid 2, beginning grid 2, and grid 1, grid 1. Again, grid 2 and grid 1, grid 1. Again, grid 2 and grid 1, grid 1. Third row, grid 5, grid 7. Together is 12, 5 and 7. Last fourth row, grid 3 and grid 9. Style 5 is font family, a body element. There is a font family, font weight, font size, color. Every time when we have definition of color, we must define in the background color. Background color is white. Letter is black colors, and background color is white. But because divs, every div there is some color, that that background white is not visible. Over that color is color of div. Container, class container, there is a width, max width, padding, margin. Container image, there is a width 100%. A grid, how we calculate grid, it is visible. Container is with 1200 pixels, and every class, percent of every class we have by dividing sum of columns with 1200. Here I write height for every class 200 pixels. Every class there is a color. Padding here we don't need. And media screen, max width, it is a switch, max width 705 pixels. After that limit, after that wide of screen. Every grid will be 100 with 100%. It means every div will be 100% of screen, and div over div behind the div is visible on the mobile screen in one column. All divs go in one column.